My director invited me to lunch on what seemed like a normal Thursday. She smiled across the table like she was doing me a favor, like this was a moment of appreciation for my 20 years of dedication. The restaurant was one of those sleek places with glass walls and overpriced salads, the kind where everything feels polished but hollow. She spoke about the weather, about some new hire, about trivial things that felt too light for what she was about to do. And then, with a casualness that burned into my memory, she slid an envelope across the table, took a bite of her salad, and said, "Sarah, after 20 years, we're going with younger talent. Security will watch you clear your office." The words didn't land at first. It was like someone had thrown a stone into a pond, and the ripples hadn't reached me yet. I looked at the envelope. I looked at her. My throat tightened, my hands tingled, and for a moment I thought my chest might actually split in half from the weight pressing down on it. But I smiled. I smiled and told her, "I wish you all the best." Her fork froze halfway to her mouth. She blinked at me, puzzled, as if I was supposed to crumble, cry, beg, or plead for the scraps of dignity she thought she had left me. What she didn't know, what she couldn't have known, was that 3 of the company's biggest clients weren't loyal to her or the name on the letterhead. They were loyal to me. If you've ever dreamed of serving justice to someone who wronged you, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up, because what comes next is one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll hear today. For 20 years, that company had been my second home. I poured myself into it, body and soul. I was there when the floors were half empty and the future uncertain. I was the one pulling all-nighters, answering panicked calls at 2 a.m., fixing disasters that no one else wanted to touch. Birthdays, anniversaries, even the chance to be there when loved ones needed me, I sacrificed all of it for my career, because I believed loyalty mattered. And for a while, I thought my director, Linda, believed that too. She used to parade me around as her right-hand woman, telling new hires to learn from my work ethic, my dedication, my attention to detail. But somewhere along the line, the world shifted. The whispers in the industry started buzzing about younger energy, fresher ideas, the illusion that age equaled irrelevance. I didn't think much of it at first. Experience speaks louder than buzzwords, right? But Linda bought into it like gospel. And I became, in her eyes, a relic. Walking back into the office that day, with 2 security guards trailing behind me like I was a thief, was one of the most humiliating experiences of my life. People peeked over their cubicle walls, whispering, eyes darting to the envelope in my hand. 20 years of being the backbone of that place, and suddenly I was reduced to a spectacle. I unlocked my office one last time, sat in the chair that had molded to my shape, and stared at the walls lined with certificates and pictures. My kids when they were little, my team smiling after a hard-fought project, the milestones that felt like proof that I mattered. Linda thought she was closing my story, but she had no idea she was writing the prologue to hers. That evening, after I turned in my badge and drove home, I didn't collapse. I didn't drown in tears. I poured myself a glass of wine, sat at my kitchen table, and opened my laptop. 3 major clients, 3 accounts worth more than half of Linda's revenue, had always reached out to me directly when things got tough. They didn't trust the company. They trusted me. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, and then I started typing. Each message was professional, warm, and simple. I thanked them for the years of partnership, told them I was no longer with the firm, and hinted that I'd soon be pursuing something new. I wasn't asking for anything. I didn't need to. Within the hour, replies flooded in. Each one said, in their own words, the same thing: "Wherever you go, we'll follow." For the next few weeks, Linda must have thought she had finally cleared the old guard. She probably celebrated, maybe even bragged about how she was reshaping the future of the division. But behind the scenes, her empire was crumbling. Contracts were quietly being questioned. Renewal talks stalled. Whispers started reaching her desk that clients weren't happy with the changes. And when she tried to fix it, she realized she was missing the one thing she had underestimated most: me. I wasn't sitting idle, either. I reached out to 2 former colleagues, people who had integrity, people who had watched the company's values rot under Linda's leadership. Together, we drafted a plan. We launched a boutique firm, small and agile, built around actual service instead of vanity. It was terrifying, exhilarating, and liberating all at once. I wasn't just taking a leap. I was building a new bridge while the old one collapsed behind me. When we opened our doors, the first 3 contracts signed on immediately. Those 3 big accounts Linda had flaunted for years. They were ours now. Within months, our workload exploded. Word spread fast in the industry. the people who actually got things done weren't under Linda's banner anymore. They were with us. Meanwhile, Linda's downfall was as loud as my revenge was quiet. Her shiny new hires couldn't deliver. Projects collapsed under mismanagement, upper management grew restless, angry, desperate. And all the while, clients walked away in droves. She had gambled on ageism, and it had cost her everything. I didn't see her again until 6 months later at a gala. I wasn't sure what to expect. Would she sneer? Would she pretend I didn't exist? The moment I walked in, heads turned. My new firm was already making waves, and people wanted to know more. And then, across the room, I saw her. Linda sat at a table that was only half full, her smile stretched thin, her eyes darting nervously. She looked smaller, diminished, like the weight of her own arrogance had hollowed her out. Our eyes met, and in that moment, I gave her the same polite smile I had given her at that fateful lunch. But this time, she knew exactly what it meant. It was a mirror held up to her choices. She had tried to discard me like I was worthless, and instead, she had destroyed her own empire. Revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, dignified, and devastating. I didn't scream. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. My success spoke louder than anything I could have said. Watching her crumble under the consequences of her own decisions was more satisfying than any dramatic outburst could have been. Looking back, I realized something important. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming my dignity, my value, and my freedom. Linda thought she had power over me, but she never did. My worth was never tied to her approval, or the company's name, or even the 20 years of loyalty I gave. It was always in my ability, my dedication, and the relationships I built. Life has a way of balancing the scales. Linda thought she could trade me in for something shinier, cheaper, younger. Instead, she lost her clients, her reputation, and eventually her position. And I walked away with everything she thought I'd never have again: stability, respect, and success. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell me in the comments the sweetest revenge you've ever witnessed. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.